Tabitha Rose. I am the Chief Inspiring Officer of Life to Paper Publishing and the founder of the Life to Legacy Foundation, and now the proud owner of a cozy little bookshop in Buena Vista, Miami.
An independent bookshop, which is
Yeah.
the coolest thing ever. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy that you're here, and I'm so excited to discuss all these amazing projects that you have
Thank you. Yeah, me too.
at hand. So let's get started with the bookstore, because that's the big one of the big ones.
Yeah.
How did it come about?
It just happened. I mean, it was a dream to one day have a little bookshop, but I didn't think it would happen so soon. And I set out to buy some books one day. I was living on Miami Beach at the time, and wanted to buy a couple books for a few people that I was going to meet. And I checked my maps. Okay, usually I go here, closed. Or, oh, here's my backup place, closed. And I realized to get these books, I was going to need to drive, 40 minutes one way, 40 minutes another way or more. And I thought, no, where have all the bookstores gone? Where are they? Because I had, my favorites that were close by, and they were no more. And I said, well, I just had this, it was like a spark. And all of a sudden, I had told a friend of, my dream for a space. Well, I'd drawn it on a piece of paper. And I said, detailed, like it has vaulted ceilings and a fireplace. And a few days later, she called me and she said, hey, is this what you're looking for? She sent me a link, and I said, it's exactly, like I didn't even know a space like this existed here.
Right.
I just had this.
In Miami, of all places.
Yeah, vision in my head. And, I went to go see it, and I got it. And I still shake my head. How did it happen? Because there were quite a few people interested in the space. And so I moved in, and I don't know why I set, the opening to be my birthday, which was 2 weeks later. So in 2 weeks, with the help of an amazing woman who's on my team, Floor, we, got it ready, and we had a party to celebrate, and then it was happening.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Have you done that before, where you visualize something and you put it to paper, or was that the first time?
I do, yeah. So once a month I'll make a point of writing down my dreams, some of them that happen, when I'm awake, or some of them when I'm asleep, and I really love that dream. I hope that, comes true.
Happened.
And I'll write them down once a month as like a ritual. And I'll keep that page, near me, or pages near me. And I really started doing that in the last year and a half. A year and a half I've been doing that consistently. And the first time I did it, I saw like, oh, the whole list happened.
It's happening.
And it was the small things. So I was kind of like a little fearful and nervous of writing down my dreams, and thinking like, okay, I'll be, I won't ask for too much. And then I remember after 2 or 3 times, I said, okay, no, I'm going to go like ham.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just write like big dreams. And some of those came true too. Some of those, I think I write down when I'm writing, I say, thy will be done. Like, not mine. So what's ever best, because I'm learning to trust whatever happens is for the best. So I always say, yes, but I don't have expectations or anything. I've been careful not to, because, when you...
I'm going to steal that.
Yeah.
Because I do that as well.
Yeah.
Like whenever... sort of like a vision board, right? But with words, since I can't draw. Or really cut stuff out, because you time gets away from you.
Yeah.
So I will write like whatever it is that I really feel like I want in my life, whether it's something material or not. But I've never thought to say, you know, and I leave it up to you.
Yeah. Ultimately, yeah.
That's wise.
Because so much that has happened has, like I said, like it just happened.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like I did it. Like I took over and made like I know that there's greater force at work. Because I took action, but not that much action.
Right.
Right.
That's so interesting. So it literally all fell into place.
Yeah. That's how it's been. That's how it's been for the last few years of just me sitting down at what I do every day. You know, some days longer than others, but just consistently. And I struggled with that for a while now as a business owner with the publishing side, like showing up every day. It had a lot of resistance and, you know, the inner critic telling me a whole bunch of things, you know, as I would look into like my peers in the space, I'd be like, wow, they're doing it longer or better, and have doubts and everything. And it's a practice that you have to like push through those doubts and stuff. Because I think it was a process of building trust with myself, you know?
Yeah. It's so interesting how that works, because we can trust other people so quickly and cheer them on and believe that they can do all these things. But then when it's time to look inward, you're like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I could be doing better. Or your inner critic, like you said, it's really harsh.
It's real. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a moment of realization one day, actually. It was, I think, just over a year ago, and I had just finished. So with Life to Paper Publishing, what we do is we put people's lives to paper and then, you know, guide them out into the world, get them, you know, they call me shelf dealer, get them on bookshelves and get these people, these authors with amazing stories in front of more people. And I had just finished ghostwriting a book, sent it off. I think it was at like 11 at night. You know, press send. I went to brush my teeth and I caught my face in the mirror. And for the first time, I became aware, because probably like that a long time, that I looked really sad. Like, and then I became aware of the voice in my head. It was saying all kinds of terrible things. It was telling me like, you should have had this in last week. And he's probably not going to like it. You know, why are you even, it's terrible. Like, how could you even send that to really mean things?
Yeah.
And then I'd made a decision, like, no, I shifted that. I pushed that voice away. I had another voice that said, like, you just finished another book.
Right.
This is amazing. Yeah. Look what you're doing. And like, you had a really good day. Like, look, you're going to bed at 11. I just changed the script. And I made a decision to keep like that script as much as I could.
Of course.
Yeah.
It makes such a difference.
Yeah. But I became really aware. I've been really mean to myself, and I don't know for how long, but this has been going on for a while, and not anymore. No.
Good. Yeah. It's difficult to make that transition. But once you do, it's so freeing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is. So now you mentioned that you were a ghostwriter, or are you still?
Yes.
You still are. So is that what you did before the bookstore? Was that your career?
Yeah, it still is.
It still is, yes.
So Life to Paper is still like very much mine. It's evolved a lot. Like I didn't think I was going to get into this field, books. It wasn't my plan. I had set out, graduated and worked in politics, and then switched into investor relations in oil and gas. So it was very different. I was traveling a lot and, part-time living in Colombia where the company operated. And I thought at the time that was for me, but it was a struggle. But I thought that's normal. Like, it's normal to feel like, this restlessness all the time. It's just, I'll get there one day, wherever there is, and I'll be, it there to me look like, a lot of success, a lot of, like a huge title, a big bank account, that was where I thought there was. And when I got there, then I'd have some peace or contentment. That was just, what I understood what work was about. Like,
Yeah.
And my grandmother, she was going to hire a ghostwriter to write her story. She has a pretty interesting story. And I'd heard her mention that a few times. And then one time I said, why don't you let me write it? I don't know why. I'm not sure. I just felt like, yes, I could. And then I said, maybe I'll write it and do the legwork. You can always pass it to an editor after. She agreed. And we set out, and it was sort of like just a hobby on the side. But I remember those early days sitting with her, and I had this feeling that I didn't have very often or at all. And it was like, I wasn't thinking about anything else or anyone else. Like, I was just there, and it felt like that was exactly where I was supposed to be.
That restlessness was not there.
No, it was a really strange feeling because I felt restless all the time. And I remember we went to Hungary. She thought it was important for me to visit the places where things happened and just tell me more stories. And that was a beautiful experience. And I got back from that trip and went back to, my office with this kind of like, and then things from there just, I think I knew, but I still pushed that away. I still felt, I got to push forward in this path I'm already on. But I couldn't push hard enough. Like, I kept kind of tripping up after that. I got fired. I started really struggling. I was leaning more into socializing and drinking and all that stuff because that felt like my medicine at the time. Yeah. And I think life just kind of happened. And then I crossed paths with this man. I call him my magical mentor. And sitting with him and talking and he got me talking about life and everything. And somehow this thing came up with my grandmother that I'd been doing. And he suggested I do that and only that. What does that look like? It's not a job. It's not anything. Who am I now?
Yeah.
Right. I've been telling people that I'm this person, which felt like I was acting the whole time anyway. And then now I'm just all of a sudden writing people's life stories. So it just started as, me writing, doing with other people what I'd done with my grandmother, spending meaningful time with them, putting their life to paper. They have a book and then they keep that book for themselves and maybe their family. And then I had some inquiries from people who they wanted more people to see that book. So they wanted to get it out there. And I said, okay, I think I can do that. And so we began to write and publish. And then it became a we because I knew I needed help. So I started, bringing people onto the team who I felt loved this as much as I did. And then seeing, where everyone has their zone of genius or zones. Right. Okay, that's yours. You take over in that respect. I'll stay over here. You come over there. And thank God now I have a team, and it's been the most fulfilling experience to build a team. And my roles changed a lot. It's nothing like what I thought it would be. Nothing's been what I thought, but it's been better.
Yeah. You feel good.
Yeah. And the whole publishing side, it's a business. I think we're trying to find ways to do it different for people because I found everyone's a little different. There's no standard process for everybody. I sit first with people and we talk about, it's my favorite part. We talk about their dreams. We have a dream session, it's called. And then from that,
that's so cool.
Every step of the way is informed by those dreams. And their dreams often are it's more than the book. So it's the book and beyond. So we talk about all that. And then, we find ways to, get them closer toward that dream.
Right.
It's been really fun because then the clients are they're partners, family even.
They feel a connection with you as opposed to just being another number, I would say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I that's why I know when it's a good fit, that dream session sort of matchmaking too, because if we both get that, I know there's a reason we're both here.
Yeah.
Then it's I know it's a good fit.
That's so interesting.
And then we
I love how that's your first meeting and not okay, what are your plans? What are the numbers? How many books are we going to sell?
That probably, maybe, I don't know, should be more part of the conversation.
Listen, I have no idea. It's just so
But
interesting to me how you care about the person first.
for sure. Because when I was ghostwriting only, no publishing, I found that a lot of people were telling me that they loved the process so much so that they felt, even if I don't, this is weird to say, but even if I don't ever hold a book in my hands, that this process has been worth it.
Right.
I was like, whoa,
it must
really?
be like a therapy session.
I want to make it clear I'm not a therapist
Yes.
at all, like not trained at all, but I know it's therapeutic.
Right. No, but the fact that you're helping someone with writing down their story, their struggles, their missions, their heartaches, their successes must be very helpful for them.
Yeah, I think so. I'll get with everyone typically, because when you're reflecting on your life, that I'll get, I've never told anyone this before, or I actually forgot about this, or like a moment of realization about something.
Yeah, very cathartic.
Yeah. It's like I'm going through it too, because my own life's mirrored back at me, and I'm thinking about, as we do when we're reading stories or listening to stories, it's definitely an honor.
Yeah, I'm sure.
To spend that time with people. I love that part of it. So that's a part of the process that I've still stayed in. Now I have some people on my team starting to do that with people, spend time with them, listen to the stories until they take over and write the book and everything like that. But for a while it was the part, like I'm like, this is my part. Yeah. I do this.
It's your baby.
Then I let go, because I started to see, I brought a woman who works for me out of Canada. She came on to a documentary shoot, because we'll now we'll write the book, film the documentary, create the content around them in the book, kind of brand the person.
Right.
And she came along to a shoot, and usually I was interviewing, and then I said, you take over. She sat down in the chair and and I was blown away. She was incredible. He started to cry, like it was beautiful. Goodness. I'm like, oh, wow, you're magic. I'm like, do you want to do more of this? She goes, absolutely. I'm like, okay. And so the next week she started a project with a client one-on-one, and my hands were completely off the wheel. And she's been brilliant.
That is so cool. That's amazing. So do people seek you out, or and is there like some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not category, but maybe category for you to see, like, okay, do you have a story that we can help you tell, type of thing?
Yeah, like we have the dream session. Usually I'm finding people will contact me based on, they know someone who's worked with me, and they've shared what the experience was like, and they felt like it's a good fit for them, or they've seen an individual that's put out a book with us and gone on to do things, and they've actually called and said, can I have like the mic package or whatever it is?
I love that.
There's no package really. I mean, there's kind of the standard services that we provide. You will have a book, you will have, but then there's always more. So it's been really hard to describe it all, because I'm like, you'll see, there's always more, because we'll come up with ideas, and then we'll run with it, and we're off, and all of a sudden
it's very tailored to the person.
Like
I think that's so special.
One individual right now, and his book was already self-published, but we're sort of repackaging it and taking it further, and where we're helping him the most is becoming a storyteller on stages and in front of cameras.
Oh, wow.
So we're training him to do all that.
That's so cool.
And that's where he was like most looking for help. So I always start with, what kind of help are you looking for, and see if you feel like we can do that. And sometimes it's easy because, this person on my team does that specifically, or I do this specifically. And then other times it might be, wait, we don't have, or we've never done that, but I still have that feeling like I can, or we can find a way. And if it's something we're doing for the first time, I'll say, like with now we're into fiction, which I never thought. I thought it was going to be memoirs, biographies, life stories. I'll always say, like, you know, I might not be the best person to help you, but I can find someone, or I know someone, or I'll say, and sometimes they've said, but I feel like you are, but I'm not, but you are. And then we go back and forth, and then I'm like, okay, I'll try, and let's see how this goes. And,
Right.
you know, so that's what happened with fiction. The first fiction book I wrote, actually, and it's coming out on the 27th of October. We had that conversation, and now that's in the book, in the foreword. It talks about, like,
that's so special.
yeah. And I said, let's agree, you know, let's try this out, and then we'll see. And I loved it every step of the way, because I had another opportunity to dream up the future, dream up these characters.
Yeah.
And, you know, everything they go through together, and then individually as well. So it's cool.
That's so exciting. So that will be in what, a couple of days, 10 days? No?
Yeah, the 27th. Yeah. So she's Canadian. So her book launches online. And that's very much in theme with the book, which takes place in the future, where kids are fully immersed in online learning. Oof. We imagine, at least.
Yes.
So
that's very, very good for what we're going through right now. It's perfect.
And
I
the
can't
future,
wait to read it.
I'm going to get you a copy for sure.
Oh,
I don't have I'm getting copies in a few days, and I'll definitely give you one. It's for young adults, but it's also not. Like, you know.
Right.
So that's our target audience.
That's one of my favorite genres, the young adult novels.
There's so many
amazing
books.
So many crazy good stories
in
that genre that sometimes I'm even like, why is this considered young adult? There's so much you know, that adults can take away from it. But I guess that's what makes a good book, right? It's really not limited by generation. So I never understood what they did that. Is that for like sale purposes?
I think so. To really, I suppose. There's the main character is a young adult.
Yeah.
And that,
maybe.
I think, they can relate to their story
right.
best.
Yeah.
But I mean, I even watch movies about kids in high school.
Yeah,
you know?
Same.
I love it.
If you have a good story, it doesn't matter how old you are, who you are. I will read it or watch it or listen. It's
same.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So I want to go back and ask you about that transition when you said, okay, I'm quitting my job. How did that feel?
Oh, no, I got fired.
Oh, that's right. You did mention that.
I'm sorry. Fired.
In your head, were you already at that place where you said, okay, I'm going to leave?
No.
Or no?
No, I was very stubborn.
So that's why you had to get fired.
I was very stubborn.
The universe had to push you out.
What I say is that the universe was tapping me on the shoulder. Hey, pay attention.
You were not listening.
I wasn't listening. And then they slapped me a few times, like, hey. And then I had a full knockdown. And I actually collapsed on a plane. I was flying to Texas. My boyfriend at the time was from Texas. You know, we were there really very often, almost like living part-time. And I was flying alone, flying through Dallas to San Antonio. And on the way to Dallas, I couldn't breathe. I didn't know what was happening. And I ended up in a hospital in Dallas. And I learned it was a panic attack. I never had one before. And that's when my boyfriend's mother, extremely kind woman, she said, why don't you come and stay with me for a little bit? Like, just she didn't say much. She just, and it sounded, I don't know, something about it. Just said, okay. Like, to slow down for me I wasn't wired that way. So, but I, for some reason, said yes. I flew out there. There was no agenda for that trip. So that made me nervous, but I did. And she's the one who said, I think you should meet Michael and sit with him. And it was kind of, okay, why? And again, I didn't know why, but I did. And he was the one, this magical mentor that I called that started, we had this honest conversation, one of maybe the most honest conversation I'd ever had. And I started talking about what I've been doing with my grandmother. Just because, you know, I liked it. And that's when he said, you should. My whole life, there was a big fork in the road there. And
Right.
just how I lived life too. I mean, he suggested I do, like, leave his office and go down to Granville Island, where there's market and stores and food, all that, and walk around and just pay attention to, if I smell a candle that smells good, get it.
Mm-hmm.
Or what food, like, get in touch with me. I was so far away
Be
from
present.
myself and the things that, like, who I was. And maybe he didn't say that, but I think he recognized that. And so, but that was new to me, to go
Right.
and eat the food like I wanted to eat. It was very much, oh, what do you want to eat? Or, oh, that's
Right.
like, yeah, trying to be someone. It's cliche, but really trying to be someone I wasn't.
Did you have a hard time letting go of your career that you had previously, that you had,
Yeah,
put so much time into?
I still pushed and I tried. So what I did was I got I guess you could say a better job, a bigger salary. I managed to, even having been fired, I was like, oh, I'll show them, and went out. And all of this was driven from fear. And got a better job with a six-figure salary, and fell flat on my face there too. I just when it like it was so hard to fake it or just show up, and it was really a struggle.
Yeah.
That's when things started to feel really hard. Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who has a career that they've worked so hard for, and they may have that magical number for their salary that they
Mm-hmm.
deem is the number, but they're extremely unhappy?
Yeah, I know that's a tough place to be in. Lean into the things that give you that feeling of contentment.
Yeah.
Honestly, whatever it is. For me, it was the life story writing, but it was what other things that gave me was being around kids at the time. I really felt like at that moment that, like, that contentment and that
Mm-hmm.
feeling of there's no when I was around children. So at the beginning, when I just started the business, I did a lot of that too. I, like, nannied for a few hours during the day some days, and I, like, leaned into that. And I don't think, I don't know, maybe maybe one day, but it wasn't in the cards, at least right now, for me to be like a full-time nanny or anything like that. But
Right.
it definitely felt good, and I just started leaning into things that gave me some peace.
Right.
When I did them.
And it
What?
makes sense because that then helps you be clear minded to take the next step.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
a fear I can't sell someone, don't be afraid, because fear,
Mm-hmm.
it's its own beast.
Right.
Always
Yeah.
there.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I was talking to an artist. She's a muralist, and she said she has a lot of fear, but then she's like, "But you just do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You do it scared."
Yeah.
And I thought, like, wow, that's so true,
It's so true.
because we think that fear is not normal and we wait for it to go away.
Yeah.
And it's
No.
it's not going to go away. It's like it's there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to go for it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I also was told to build your self-esteem, do esteemable acts.
Yes.
So just take steps.
Right.
For me, the first steps were, like, I remember when Michael, my magical mentor, said, that I should be doing this and only this. I said, what does that look like? I start a website on GoDaddy. Oh my God, that's like embarrassing. And funny enough, when I just sat down, and for the first time in my life, GoDaddy.com, this was 6 years ago, it felt good. I really like it, that same feeling, and the hours passed. I'm like, what time is it? All of a sudden I had this little website, coming up with a name. All of that felt good. I just was taking steps in that direction. And GoDaddy is something I fell in love with. I'm like, I love GoDaddy now, and it was a thing I resisted so much.
They should be a sponsor.
Yeah.
For Life to Paper.
And the people are so helpful. I can't say enough good things, honestly. But yeah, you just do. Some things that helped me a lot were on June 11th, 2016. My boyfriend at the time gave me The Artist's Way, and I remember just like going back into my bedroom on my bed and opening it up and diving in and feeling like, oh my God, this was written for me.
Yeah.
And starting to do morning pages. So doing
Yes.
3 pages of writing every morning before I do anything else, just to dump out that critic left-sided brain. So that became a practice. And then I watched a lot of Stephen Pressfield's YouTube videos on, writing a story outline, and then I bought some of his books, and one of them specifically was to help battle resistance. So that was like a book you could just open up at any page and find something helpful. So I had these kind of like Bibles now that sat next to my desk that helped me. And then when I found a writing mentor as well, which just happened. I think I'd just come up with the name Life to Paper and done the GoDaddy website. And I went to a good friend's grandmother's funeral and a Shiva. And I was talking to them, and they asked me what I was doing now. And I told them, and they said, wow, you have to meet our friend Richard. And they pulled me over to this man and his partner. And he said he was friendly, and he told me he had this book, and it's a step-by-step guide to how to write your life story. And he travels around the world teaching people in groups. And I just said, will you be my mentor?
Talk about meant to be.
I know. He's been with me ever since, and he's like, him and his partner are like my other parents.
Yeah.
They're the most wonderful people. And I don't think I'd be here without him, because there were times when I was working on 3 books at once by myself.
Oh my goodness.
Nothing made sense. I was so, confused. And I'd call him and we'd talk. And somehow afterward, I'd feel better. And like everything was very clear. And when I first got into publishing, he sent me this book. And that book, like, I dove into that book. And I still do sometimes when I have, oh, how do you do this? Or it's like a very thorough guide to publishing, anything you need to know about it. And
That's so
that's
cool.
really helped me too. Yeah.
It sounds like not only you found the right place, but also how to surround yourself with the right people.
That's been
Which, yeah, it makes such a difference.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was a struggle for you, but for me, and I can see this about you as well. You're a people person,
Thanks.
so it's hard to say no. That person might not be right. You know what I mean? You feel like everyone has a
Yeah,
light
good.
in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's tricky.
It is.
How
Yeah.
did you navigate that?
Oh yeah. No, because I feel like the ordinary are extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is, once I learned, I love stories.
Yeah.
So that I just want to know people on that level. But I did, there was like that, like I got more in touch with my intuition, that gut
Mhm.
feeling. It started to go off. Like I didn't get a good feeling sometimes with some people. And I think it was just God telling me, you're not the right person to help them. Not that they're a
Right.
bad person or
Right.
anything, but you will, because when I didn't listen to that,
You
it
got
was
into
real
trouble?
struggle to complete the work, to be
Yeah.
honest, or just, pour the words out onto the page, or, even to talk to them, which I love to talk to people. But all of a sudden it was like, I get this like, yeah,
It's the resistance.
yeah. So now if I feel that, I'll suggest somebody else, because yeah, one time in particular was really hard with an individual, and um but I got through it, and my team helped, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear you say that, because when it happens, you think that it only happens to you, and then you realize no, everybody deals with
Yeah.
not being the right match,
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it's a work relationship, a partnership, a friendship,
Yeah.
and it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. exactly.
Yeah, and you just
Yeah.
have to listen to your gut.
I used to think it was, because I'm so used to the acting or, pushing through that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was me. It's just me. If I
Yeah.
could just change,
Right.
be different, turn this voice off, like, shh, be quiet, especially when it's a new business because you're like,
Yeah.
it's a client. Oh my, you're celebrating. I got a client.
Right.
That feeling, you're like, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
How can you say no? You
Mm-hmm.
can't say no. You have to put a roof over your head and food on your plate. Like
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
about that and keep the lights on. And that's why I said yes.
I always took it as I was being judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why am I judging, and
Yeah.
saying, oh, there's something I'm not feeling right now
Yeah.
when I don't even know, I haven't given a chance. And I would just have this whole speech in my head of
Mm-hmm.
how I was not being a good person.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I know. I know.
And now, I feel like now is when I'm finally learning, like, no, I have this intuition and this gut feeling for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it doesn't mean they're a bad person. It's just something's not meshing, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I like to talk about the dreams first and really see what, the intention is too. I found with a lot of people we worked with, they really want to help others.
Hmm.
In fact, to the point where now more and more, one author in particular, Jonathan Andrews, and his book comes out November 1st, all proceeds go to support youth mental health.
That's
So
amazing.
he's not,
Wow.
and that's where we stepped in and said, okay, because we can do things a couple ways in publishing where, it's a hybrid and those individuals pay for services. And with this one, I said, no, we're doing this differently. So no service contract, nothing. This is your intention. It aligns with ours too. And we're gonna, a whole team's gonna come behind this individual and his book, and the message and try and reach as many people as we can with it.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so important.
So we're trying something. I've done it a couple that were and that happened. Actually, my first publishing client that was with that too was a man who's terminally ill. And he had never shared a story about his childhood sexual abuse. Even his wife had known about it. And with, time being limited, he said, now's the time. So he wrote the book and he was looking for someone to help get it. And his mission was to, save lives of kids and reach parents and teachers and those who had been abused themselves. And that aligned with me. And we said, let's do it.
Wow.
And that actually, I learned a lot from that too, because this was pre-COVID, of course,
Hmm.
and time and travel were not on our side. Travel, especially, I wanted to ensure that he had as much time as possible with his loved ones.
Right.
I said, okay, so doesn't look like we could do, a book tour, for your health, because of your health. And so I said, why don't we film you? Why don't we
Hmm.
get you on camera and have it be really intimate? It's
Yeah.
just so the individuals who watch feel like you're speaking right to them. They can see the specks of color in your eyes. And we did that, and he really enjoyed the process, and he really enjoyed the final product, and so did I. That spark happened again where I loved. Of course, I'm not a videographer or a director, but I was really involved in it, and I had the vision for how it should look, and of course I could talk to him, so we kind of chatted. I wasn't shown on camera; it was just to get his
Hmm.
response. I asked him stuff I thought people would ask during a book talk,
Right.
and that people then saw that and they're like, oh, and we started doing that as a standard. So when COVID hit too, we were already, ready. We'd been doing it. People couldn't travel or meet in person to launch their books or talk about their books. So they had this documentary video.
That's
Yeah.
it's so interesting when you allow yourself to go with the flow, because you
Mm-hmm.
were already set for
Yeah.
COVID, and I just
Yeah. We did
yeah.
something really cool during COVID to launch Mike Shorman's book, Crash and Rise. So, no, we couldn't host a book launch in person. But I don't know if you've heard of Ripley's Aquarium. So they
Mm-hmm.
have different. So there's one in Toronto, and Ripley's Aquarium is actually mentioned in the book. So we went to them and we said, "Hey, um, there's a shout out to you on page 74 or whatever, and we want to launch this book, and this is the mission, this is the message, and this is what he went through and what he's doing now, and we were wondering if maybe we could be here. So like this is the show, this is the backdrop for the show, the book launch online, so people from home are seeing
Right.
the author and the two
That's
co-hosts
really
with
bright. That's
yeah, and
smart.
they loved it. So they allowed us. We all wore these clear masks. Well, those that were on camera, and it was great. It's just something different. So we were able to gather a small group of us and in the space and set up the launch, and it was so much fun.
That's
Yeah,
so cool.
it was so much fun.
Oh, I'm sad I missed it. Oh,
I can send you the replay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
And then a month later, or a few weeks later, we flew down here to Miami, and we did the author talked to some groups here. Things were a lot more open and people were gathering, and we did an outdoor event, Let's Talk Stories. That was around in November last year.
Mhm.
So last year we did one event for 2 hours, and now this year we're doing a whole month of events.
Yes, perfect segue. So let's talk about the book fest.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm like beyond excited.
Me too.
This is so cool because here in Miami we have the book fair, which is amazing. It's a
Mhm.
staple,
Of
but
course.
it's
The
only for a
biggest.
limited time.
Yeah.
So now to have like a month long worth of events, it's like a dream come true. I can't even like
Ugh,
I can't
I
like it.
c
For those of you watching, I have like this stupid smile on my face because this is so fun.
I know. That's
So
how I feel too.
congratulations!
Thank
This is
you.
so cool.
It just happened. Like you'll hear, this is a common theme. It just happened. So I had because of the publishing, and we had scheduled a few events for November. And I said, "Oh, November's going to be so fun. It's Miami Book Fair. We have events. It's like the book fair month." And we have three book launches and another author talk. I'm like, that's a lot, for us in 1 month. And I was kind of calling them Miami Book Fair events, but the
Mhm.
truth is they have nothing to do with the Miami Book Fair. It's just the Miami Book Fair is so big and has such an impact that
Yeah.
when you think of that month, you think of, a book fair. It's amazing. I think the largest in North America,
Yes.
which is phenomenal. It's so cool.
It set the template for book fairs all over the country. So
Yeah.
it's quite special that it started here,
I love that. I
because
love
when
it.
people think of Miami, they don't think of the culture that happens here. And
No.
you and I had this conversation privately.
Right.
It's they always think like parties in South Beach, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on here. A lot of
Absolutely.
artists and authors and
Absolutely.
interesting people.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
nice.
amazing. You kind of peel back a layer and you look
Yeah.
behind this curtain and around this corner and you're like, wow, it keeps
Yeah.
surprising me in the best ways, the city.
This city's special if you
Mhm.
can get past the flip flops, and which I love flip flops. I'm not that person. I will wear flip flops all year onto the market.
Yeah.
But it's
Mhm.
it could be polarizing when you say to someone, "Oh, I'm from Miami."
Right.
They either love it or you get that, "Oh,
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
bad for you."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
don't, because we love it here.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to someone the other day. He says, born and raised here,
Yeah.
which I love. I love meeting people born and who decided to stay. And he said he still gets that feeling when he drives across a causeway and he
Mhm.
sees the city skyline, and he often will stop the car and like, just go look at it
Yeah.
and just say, "I love Miami." And I go, "So
Oh.
it doesn't get old? Like it never wears off?" And he goes, "Not for me." And I'm like, "Thank God." Because
Yeah.
I'm just like 5 years. This is my 6th year here.
That's right.
And yeah, and it hasn't worn off. Yeah.
Okay, before we get there, how you chose Miami to be your new home. I want to talk a little bit more about the book fest.
Yeah.
So how do people come by? Is there
So for the month, we have what's called the Festival Pass at the early bird rate of $33, and that gives you access to the festival and its events and the market for the whole month. So the idea is we want you, like just with the bookshop, we want you to come in and stay a while and come back, it's like that feeling. So that gives you access to the festival for the whole month. And there are, you know, author talks, book launches, events that are different, like Essential Oils and Emotions 101, and a brilliant tarot reader who's doing a talk. And there's a men's circle around the fire. So we're kind of integrating. This is the space next door to the bookshop, the house where I also live in. And the two spaces are very much integrated. So there'll be.
I love how personal this is.
It is. Yeah. Like I'm hosting people in my home, which I love. Partially for some, most of the events are held in the event space next door, but there's going to be a few like workshops, and I'm doing something different too on November 11th. I've been asked, "Oh, when are you writing your book?" for a long time. And, I like many people, I wrote some pieces here and I have this journal lying around somewhere and, and I was doing a meditation class and I just had this vision that I rolled out a huge roll of paper across the bookshop floor and I sat down and I started writing and I wrote my story and that's it. No book sales, no cover, no editor, no drafts. That's it. And for some reason, that turned into me actually doing it, committing to setting a date November 11th so people can come and watch, I guess.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just pouring it out and then I guess putting it up somewhere. It's a little scary thinking it's scary, but it's not. It feels like it's the right thing to do where people will walk up to this entire wall pretty much of story and start reading wherever their eyes hit and without context. So some of the things might be shocking or something might be funny. I don't know, but that's the idea.
I feel like that's such a visual representation of someone's real life.
It's just me for the love of
because
writing.
we take snippets of people, right? Like, like I met you at this stage in your life and this is the Tabitha I know, but there's so many other Tabithas,
Yeah.
So that's so cool.
Yeah, the
I
little
love
me
that.
and and everything now and everything in between.
Exactly. And everything that is to come.
Yeah, the dreams. Yeah. Yeah, that's I don't know. It just again, the theme just happened. And now I'm doing it. So that and then we're doing something special with literary views, a literary dinner, which I'm
Emily.
excited for. Emily's amazing. She's such
Yes.
a light. And she's just so in love with this space. She's so like it just makes me so happy to talk to her. She's full of ideas. So she's very much involved. And we do a poetry workshop, and then for National Life Story Writing Day, and I love to write day. So November's filled with like book literary dates, and we're doing a life story writing workshop. We're having a movie night. We have a movie night scheduled already, and then I'm not sure if I can say it yet. Like if I check my phone, I might have confirmation. We have not yet. We have something special as well that is going to be screening at the festival too. So it's been every day because we didn't start this thing that long ago. Like it just like a spark and it just happened, and then there were people came around us that wanted to help. Like our sponsors are incredible, and they really see the potential to like further build community with this.
Yes.
So like that's our mission and we want to help.
I think that's one of the most special things about what you're doing with your bookstore and now the festival is the community space that you're building.
I hope so.
I think
that's what I imagine,
It will be. It
Yeah.
will be because that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's more than books, you
It
know?
is.
It's
It is.
um
Mm-hmm.
like what we're doing right now. It's community. We're
Yeah.
connecting over,
Yeah.
and it all came from a book or love for books, but then it leads to so much more.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
truly special.
I
I'm so
hope
excited for
so.
it. I think it's going to be a hit. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea that it's still an intimate space,
Mhm.
you know. It's not, a street fair, but which I love, but it's small. It's the
Right.
little book fair that could.
Yes.
And we'll see. And like my space now with the bookshop, with every single person that's walked through the door, it becomes more special because they come in and they have ideas and they want to contribute somehow. And I hope and imagine the festival will be the same. So people are getting involved in different ways, whether they're an author or an artist that has,
Mhm.
something to share. So they'll come in that way, or they come in. Like our sponsors have come in, and they're more than just sponsors. They're like, you know, they're so much a part of it.
Right. It's
They
community.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then, they're volunteers that wanna help, like, lend a hand, which is amazing, and, and then there's people who just have ideas and they wanna share, and we're like, "Oh my gosh," we'll get on the phone, and then we'll say, "Oh my we're doing it. We're gonna run with this." So it's fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
Um so it will have all the information listed for everybody to get
Mhm.
access to it, but I want to take it back to when you mentioned you moved here
Mhm.
6 years ago.
Mhm.
So how did that decision come?
Again, it just happened. I sat up one day. I was actually planning on going west. I had been to Sausalito, just outside of San
Mhm.
Francisco. This beautiful little town, artsy town, and view of San Francisco and beautiful sunrises. And I just started life to paper, and I really felt the need to go somewhere on my own. I'd never really been on my own, and this business was me. And I was in a relationship at the time, and it was suggested that we take some time apart for both of us. um, and I sat up one day, I was thinking California, and then all of a sudden Miami popped into my head like a voice, and then there I was. All the things fell into place for me to get here. And like when say I have a new business, it was a new business. Like the GoDaddy website was up, but nothing else. So I didn't have, more than a couple dollars or a place to live or anything. And I got everyone was asking me why, and I couldn't really explain why. Like I rationalized it as, Florida still got a lot of retirees, and I'll, help older people. But that was just a thing I said. I really didn't know. But then when I got here, then I knew. Like I knew because there was this community of creatives. I'd
Right.
never been exposed to anything like that before. And they were so welcoming, like almost like, here's your seat. We've been waiting for you.
Yeah.
And I started falling in love with my own story for the first time. So I have a place to live. I planned to stay with a friend for a little while. And I was out one night, I was socializing. I met the owners of this amazing place called Lanyap, where there's live music every night. Music is also is my first and forever love, to be completely honest. And I found out that there was this space above Lanyap, which was used to be a B&B, and they had stopped renting it out. And I said on the spot, well, I'm looking for a place just temporarily, like, until I find something permanent. And they opened the doors to me. Of course you can rent, no problem. The next day I moved in.
That's
And I thought
amazing.
it was going to be 2 weeks, and it ended up being 7 months because I loved it so much. Like there were amazing people that gathered there. The music was brilliant. But these things kept happening of people just like, let me help you. Here you go, all
Yeah.
the time. I mean, even my hairdresser at New Studio was big shout out to D. I mean, people were just like helping me. You know, my first time I went there for a haircut, I walked up to pay and they said no charge. You know, just you're new business, you know, no charge.
Oh
I was
my
like, this is
goodness.
unbelievable. And at the time that was very helpful because
Yes.
that
Yes.
I brought money with me, and that was kind of, I'd see it bill after bill.
You
American
see
bill
it
was like
dwindling.
dwindling down. I'm like, no. And then, you know, and then I remember telling you I worked with kids. So that was, I had 2 clients at the time. And you know, my fees were very low, and so it was not enough, and so I found a job nannying for this amazing family, these three adorable kids, and so a few hours each day I'd go and do that, so I would be able to write during the day and then go, and then that was the first family, you know, I got to know in Miami. um like really, because I was really
Right.
immersed in their life, and they were the most amazing people. And every day I'd go and like happy, you know. So I'd be writing, I'd be working with kids, helping them with their reading and writing, and I loved it. And it really felt home.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's so special.
Yeah.
When because you followed, you went with the flow, and it all the puzzle pieces came into place
Hmm.
to where you are today. That's so
Yeah.
interesting.
And I'd fly back to Canada sometimes for a
Yeah.
while, sometimes even a few months, because you know, be working with someone based there.
Hmm.
Funny enough, even though I came here, many of my clients were in Canada. I go, what's this about? So I was happy. So I'd fly back and work with them, and then also spend time with family. And for a time, felt very like, is it? I knew in my heart it was Miami, but it was like, but what's the best decision,
Right.
right? And my family. And the truth is, especially this year, my family's just been like, you are in your right place.
Yeah.
You know, you're in your right place. We are happy for you. We love you. You know,
That's amazing to have their support.
yeah. I
Yes.
just wish they visited a little more often.
Yeah. Well, maybe
Yeah.
when this whole mess gets
Yeah.
cleaned up,
That's been a
they
big
might.
reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a big reason.
Where in Canada are they? Toronto?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I've heard
Yeah.
it's.
Toronto and just outside of Toronto too. Like the GTA is huge. So I'd say Toronto, but yes, but technically other little cities and towns around.
So you haven't been able to see them in.
Oh, I've seen
Oh,
them. I
you've
was
seen them.
I was actually just back last month.
Oh,
I was
good,
there for a
good.
week, and then I was Boston and New York.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it can get kind of lonely
Mm.
when they're so far away,
You know,
right?
that's why I have my Sunday dinners. Like I've done this for years, where I house
That
like
makes
I
sense.
have my Sunday, what I call family dinner, and that's a day of cooking and listening to
Yeah.
music and, you know, cleaning, and I invite people, doors are open really to everyone. And then, you know, people come over and connect, and I cook, and it's just about, you know, that coming
Right.
together around the table, and there's always stories told. Last night was amazing. We had some people there, one of the authors who's at the book festival, an amazing man in the community who has a community center for artists, for anyone. It's for the community, and it's his grandmother's former home that he's just
Oh
transformed,
my
and
goodness.
like, yeah, to give back. And it's amazing. And then the woman who's also going to be at the festival, she's going to be doing tarot. So after dinner we like lit candles and we got into
I
some
can't believe I
tarot.
wasn't
It,
there.
she has her own
I
deck
missed it.
called Badass Bitches. Badass Bitches
Okay,
Tarot.
I'm sold. I am
She's
sold.
amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she drew everything, and like I pulled Ruth Bader Ginsburg as one of my cards. I was so happy.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
That is so
It was
cool.
really cool.
I, the more you talk about it, I see the sparkle in your eyes,
Mm,
and I
thanks.
can I can tell you're making something really special. So I'm so happy that you're here and you chose Miami for it
Thank
to be
you.
its home.
It's home.
We needed, yeah, we needed
It's
a
home.
space like that, and I I think it's gonna be perfect.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always wanted one place. I moved a lot as a kid. a lot of not different countries within the same
Right.
province, which is crazy, but many, many times. And I always wanted just a place, like my own place to call mine forever.
Set
It
roots.
doesn't have to be big. The place that stays the same.
Yeah.
And I feel like that about this home and the bookshop. I feel that feeling of, and I don't know, maybe, I mean, I'm so prepared. I have so much faith now that, around every corner, what's going to happen is for the best.
Yeah.
But I am very, very happy here. Yeah.
I'm glad. It shows.
Thanks.
It shows. I see it in your eyes. What's your favorite book?
Oh, I don't know.
That's a tough question. Every time I ask someone that, they're like, why would you ask me that question?
I know. It's so hard. Oh, I really, oh my gosh.
Okay, what's the last thing you read?
Oh, well, there are titles. I'm reading constantly. I have a stack of manuscripts on my desk.
I can imagine.
Could I shout out like one of our authors?
I don't know. Would they mind if
No,
you? Okay.
There's a woman and she is so special and so brilliant. She is actually retired. She's local. So her profession prior to is she created some famous animated characters for television and then those used commercially. And she's just lovely, but her place is just sitting and writing. And she's written these amazing books. And the first one is coming out and next month. So you'll see it at the book festival. It's called Julian Dickerson and the Higher Ups. And it's like hilarious. It's such like these characters go on this like adventure. It's kind of like a Schitt's Creek.
Oh,
if you've seen Schitt's Creek.
That's I love that show.
But even like just more adventurous twists and turns, and the dialogue is brilliant. I see like a little bit of myself in every character somehow, but they're all so different. And it's not her life story, but I know that there are, different parts of her life that have, of course, like with fiction, naturally that happened, that have influenced the characters and what they've gone through. And there's a next book after that, which is a sequel to that. But beyond that, she has a couple other books that we're releasing too. But this is the first one.
That's exciting.
I just adore her. I adore her. So that I'm really excited for. And I've not because I've had to, but I've wanted to have read it more than once. So
that's very good feedback.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, because it's not easy to want to return to the same book and the same story. So I'm excited to read that.
There's a few memoirs that I have returned to. To be honest, one of my favorite authors, if not my favorite, and I don't want to just say author because he's more than that, is Anthony Bourdain. Yeah. I just hope that I think everyone who loved him is kind of carrying like a little piece of his torch, a little light in his torch. And I love that. I love that so many people loved him. And a former client of mine actually gave me, knowing I'd read everything from him, gave me a book, a beautiful hardcover book with photos of and things that various people have said about him.
Oh, wow.
And it's beautiful. Yeah. And so Kitchen Confidential, Shoe Dog.
His writing was special.
Yeah. Very special. So Shoe Dog, about the founder of Nike. I still love that. I've read it more than once. And this was a controversial book, but I read it as a student, and it really just felt it. I felt every moment of it. Is James Frey, A Million Little Pieces.
I remember that.
Yeah. I've read it multiple times.
So for people who are not aware, he wrote, it was autobiographical, right?
Yeah.
And it was about addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was revealed that a lot of it was
fictionalized,
misconstrued. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
There was a part about the dental work that he
It was
had
a
done and
shame
having done
because
it without any sort
yeah.
of, yeah,
I wish that
aesthetic.
or maybe it's just hopeful thinking, but I feel like if he hadn't labeled it as an autobiography, it wouldn't have lost its power. It would have
Mm-hmm.
still been as powerful.
It's a powerful story. Yeah.
Because that's a really that story just gets to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
it's a shame that now it has this like, ugh, dark
Yeah.
side, like
Yeah.
sidebar.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with it, it's really hard when you're, like it's only to the best of your memory serves you, because that period of healing and what happens in addiction, you know, for the first, there's something called post-acute withdrawal, which can, take place for even up to a year or more, I understand. So you really aren't functioning at your full capacity for
Right.
a while. And of course, all that was during that time. So yeah, no judgment on my part. I just think it's a
No.
phenomenal story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely not. Yeah. It's it's just a shame, like I said, that now
Mm-hmm.
people associate that great work
Yeah.
because I still feel like it's a great book.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
It's like, yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
That's
I
I'm
know.
so glad you brought that one up.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's a good one. I remember his Oprah interview.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I love music. Like I said, my first and forever love. And just as much as I, disappear and dive into a book, I would do the same with albums.
Mhm.
And I remember going down, my dad has a huge music collection, a CD off the wall CD, and like going in my Walkman and staying up all night and listening to an album over and over. I
Yeah.
felt like albums are like memoirs in some
Yeah.
cases.
Especially I don't want to date ourselves, but like our generation, like you could really feel the story being told. If you
Mhm.
listen from the first song to the last song,
Yeah.
there was always a cohesion in the
Mhm.
story. I don't think they do that anymore.
Mm. Maybe
I
in
don't
their own
know.
way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just different.
Yeah. In their own way, maybe. Yeah. So that's what I did. So I love music and I love me. I can't wait the next read. I as Dave Grohl's The Storyteller. Um, just I feel like the honesty and just pour out even in the his synopsis. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a good storyteller for sure.
Mhm.
So I can't
Mhm.
imagine what it looks like on paper.
Yeah.
So what's your that album that you could just listen to over and over again?
It's embarrassing.
No,
This was
no.
not, I have to make a point, not in my dad's collection, but I've listened to Mariah Carey Butterfly
That's a good
more
album.
than
Yeah,
any other album.
that's a
Yeah.
good album.
It-
That's a
I'm
really
so
good
happy you
album.
said that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I
With the
remember.
butterfly rings that she had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's the brown one, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So my Chris Kringle in elementary school got that for me. And it was so happy because I guess my teacher had, I talked to my teachers a lot. They were pretty much my friends. And then we had this Chris Kringle, Secret Santa.
Yes.
And he made a point of going to ask my teacher what I like. And I had mentioned to my teacher. And when I got it, I was blown away. One of the best gifts I've ever received.
Oh my God. I got mine, the album. It was, I'm trying to remember the name of that company. I don't know if they had that I'm sure they had it in Canada, but it was like this CD service where
Mhm.
you signed up to purchase, I don't remember how many CDs, but with
Oh,
your
right.
sign up, you got like what, 10 CDs for like
Oh, and
$10? Do you
were
remember
there those
that?
sheets and you could
Yes,
check
and you
off
could
like
check
yes.
off and then you put in the mail. So I did that, and then my mom, all these CDs show up, and my mom's like, "What is this? What the? How did? Where did these come from?" And then she found out we had to purchase like $40 worth of CDs for a year. She was not very
Not having
happy,
out. Yeah.
but she was my mom, so she was like, "Whatever,
Yeah.
it's fine. You could be doing a lot worse." So
Yeah.
that's how I got that album.
Oh,
Yeah, so
wow.
I remember it vividly.
I still know exactly on the album where it skips. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I know
That's,
on the roof, it skips at the same, like
yeah.
I could tell you exactly. I could sing the song and stop and where it skips because I remember the CD having gotten a couple scratches and so where it skipped and I had to press the fast forward so it jumped over the skip.
Oh my God, that's so
And
funny.
I'd be half asleep in bed and like still know to jump past the skip.
So is she like your number one artist or just the album?
That even more difficult than saying my favorite book is favorite artist. I just went to see Eric Clapton.
What a
Dream come
treat.
true. Dream come true. Yeah. So another thing I do at the house on Tuesdays is like music. So me and my vocal coach is a good friend. My friend Sarah, my other friend Valeria, we gather and we sing.
You can sing?
I I sing, I don't know if I can.
What?
I love to sing, I
That
love
is
music,
so
so
cool.
one week, so my neighbor found out about it. I love Buena Vista, it's such an amazing neighborhood. My neighbor found he goes, "Oh, you guys were I heard you," and he goes, "Can I join?" Sometime I go, "Of course you can." And so he said, "Okay," so we planned the date. It wasn't gonna be next week, it was gonna be the one after or something like that. And he said, "I'll invite some friends." And well, I said, "That sounds amazing. We'll do Taco Tuesday." So
I love it.
well, it turned into a basically a block party. He has so many friends. They all do this glow in the dark frisbee, and they all came, and there were fireworks, and it's a Tuesday night. There's saxophones, guitars. I'm like, this is amazing. I was taking videos, sending them to my dad. I'm like, look, this is where I
My
live. Yeah, it
God.
was just a Tuesday. It was so much fun.
And this happens every Tuesday? No.
Well, not a block party like that, but I do have.
Can we
This was just because my neighbor got involved and he knows a lot of people.
That
And so
is
it turned into like this beautiful night. Yeah. And I actually I went to bed and fell asleep to the sound of like the saxophone outside my window. It was
oh,
like, this is a
it's
dream.
magical.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Okay, I'm gonna move to where you
So
to
there's a
your
lot of
neighborhood.
music at the book festival too, because like that's a big. So when we opened the bookshop, it was
Mhm.
my birthday. We had 3 musical acts. We had Leather and Lace rock band. They did a beautiful acoustic set. We had Nikita, she DJ'd, and then we had Jose and Sarah who did like duet stuff, guitar and vocal. So
That's
that one night we just so this month you can imagine we're having a lot of
that's gonna
musical
be
acts.
fun.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect fit because I don't know if people realize, but the best stories are songs.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm. Yeah.
it's a perfect place to explore storytelling,
Mhm.
and it's the easiest, right?
Yeah. I posted on Instagram a photo and I put song lyrics and my mom, who's my number one editor, she she noticed there was no period, but it's lyrics, so you don't need the period. And she just made a comment. She put period in the comments. Like
Just made her feel better.
yeah, no,
Period.
she cares a lot and loves what I do. So she's always looking out for, and sometimes on social media it just gets posted quickly and there might be a little error here and there.
Yeah.
And she'll send me a message and say, "Oh, I caught this. You might want to," within 5 minutes.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who's thinking about starting their journey with writing?
With writing,
Yes.
we'll come to the Literary Society. We meet every Wednesday at the bookshop at 7. And this is a community of people who are working on their books. So one woman just finished her book, others are in development, others are just like creating the roadmap to start writing. But it's just a group of people that will support you and encourage you and keep you accountable on your journey too. So I think like surrounding yourself with people who
Yeah.
want to help. For me, I only am where I am because I've
Right.
had help.
I love that you say that because writing can be so solitary.
Mhm.
You know, it could
Mhm.
really cut you off.
Mhm.
And it seems almost counterintuitive because you're trying to connect through
Mhm.
writing, but
Mhm.
yet you're all alone.
Mhm.
So it's yeah,
Yeah.
that seems like the perfect place to start to
Yeah.
find that tribe.
Yeah. I would suggest that. The door, like I said, the doors are open to anyone
Hmm.
who's interested. It's a really nice little group. And
Yeah.
that group is the reason that the book festival is happening because I was talking about November and they said, well, it's like you're having a book festival. And I was like, oh, a book festival, what would that look like? And then we started talking and dreaming, and all of a sudden, boom,
It's here.
it was, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
So it's a
goodness.
safe space for storytellers, dreamers. Yeah.
And one last question. What and I always ask this question to everybody, because I feel like it's such a an important one. And you mentioning how much you enjoyed working with kids, I think you'll be able to give us some insight. What would you say to parents that are, dealing with the digital age?
Mm.
How do we balance creating a good space for readers, writers, and still have to deal with the whole online learning, computer madness?
Oh my goodness. How do we deal with the digital age?
I know that.
Buy books.
Yeah, that's what everybody tells me.
Buy books.
Buy books and
Yeah.
and read them around your kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And encourage them. I don't know. I mean, I know some people who didn't get into the writing till later, reading till later. Like a mom I just spoke to, she's gonna be at the festival too, and she's gonna talk about little libraries, which I
Mhm.
love. So I call her the little librarian. But she said wasn't she didn't fall in love with reading until she became a mother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What I really like to do with kids is encourage them to like dream up their own little stories.
Mhm.
Just all you need is a piece of paper and some
Yeah.
pens, or make it fun. For me, I mean, like anything colorful. So a little table with like colorful markers, pens, pages, stuff like that, to really kind of draw them
Right.
away from the tablet.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one because it's they can get lost,
Hmm.
not in a good way in that
Hmm.
in that world.
Another thing that just an idea for anyone out there, they can do it themselves. Maybe this is what I do with this, but toy books is like, I guess, one of our imprints, where my idea was we take your child's favorite toy. Mine was called Bobo, which means idiot. Funny enough, I didn't know at the time. I didn't know Spanish when I was one, but um, take your child, because if you imagine what life was like through their eyes, all the things they went through. Like my mom said to me, Bobo went on quite a few adventures. One
Yeah.
time you left him in the doctor's office. I called the doctor. He went back there at night, turned the lights on, put Bobo in a taxi, sent him to our house because you couldn't sleep. And I'm thinking, wow, like, so taking your child's like their favorite toy and putting it into a book and the
Yeah.
adventures and something they always have, because they won't always have that. I mean, maybe it might, if they go to college, go with them to college and then they realize, okay, I'm too old for this and put it away or something.
Yeah.
But
It
it's so
becomes an
special.
embarrassing thing and you just
Yeah.
yeah.
Special though.
It
Yeah.
it's true. It's so true. Yeah, to think about, this thing that was beside us for so long and everything they witnessed, right?
Chronicle the life of the bunny, the little cat or bear. Or,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna
It
do
could
that
be a
with my
fun
kids
activity. Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Especially my oldest, she could tell you a story out of like, a speck of
I
dust.
love that. I
She's really
love
into
that.
that stuff. So I want to make sure that I'm constantly not just reinforcing it, but making a space where she can really just run
Hmm.
with it.
Yeah.
It's it's
Yeah.
it's difficult, but we have to try at least.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank
This was
you.
so
I
fun.
know. I love talking to you.
Oh, thank you. Likewise, I could talk to you for hours, but I realize you have other things to
Oh,
do. Um, we will leave all the links down below, and we hope to see everybody starting November
yes.
1st. And there's a calendar, so if obviously
Yes.
if you can't make it every single day, just
Oh,
mark
yeah.
the events that you feel you really need to go to because there's so many fun ones, so
Hmm.
that you can be there. And
Yeah.
um, on Instagram, I feel like it's a good place to keep up with everything that's going to be
Yeah.
happening. So make sure
Definitely.
you follow.
We keep updating the calendar.
Yeah.
So, because new people are reaching out, like I said. So that's a good place to see the updated
Right.
calendar on social media.
Yes.
Life to
So
Paper Book Fest.
absolutely. And we'll leave your contact information as well and all the information for the bookshop. And to everybody who joined us today, thank you so much. I hope you have a blessed day, and we will see you next time.